national report, the Zika virus inches closest to the Bahamas.
And the Deputy Prime Minister talks about jobs at PowerSecure as PowerSecure takes over BEC.
The full weight of the police force comes out. I'm Chris Saunders. Coming up, I'll tell you why.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
A state of emergency declared in 4 Florida counties as the Zika virus makes its way to their shores. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
I'm Keishel Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, the Zika virus has inched closer to the Bahamas. Florida Governor Rick Scott has ordered a public health emergency in all 4 Florida counties where the virus was reported. Now, the Florida Department of Health has reported 9 cases of travel-related Zika virus to the Centers for Disease Control, and 4 of those cases were reported in Miami-Dade County. 2 cases were reported in Hillsborough County in Tampa, 2 were reported in Lee County in Fort Myers, and 1 in the Panhandle in Santa Rosa County. Miami-Dade is only about 60 miles from Bimini and 184 miles from Nassau. It should be pointed out that these travel-related cases are defined as diseases believed to be contracted outside of the state. Now, none of the confirmed cases involve pregnant women. The Centers for Disease Control points out that Zika fever illness is generally mild with a rash, fever, and joint pain, and researchers are examining a possible link between the virus and unborn babies exposed during pregnancy, which could lead to abnormalities in brain and head development. There's no specific treatment for the illness, and usually it goes away in a few days by treating the symptoms, which include body aches, eye pain, and vomiting.
Recommendations from the Hawksbill Creek Agreement Review Committee revealed in Parliament today by the nation's chief. If approved, those recommendations can change the island's economic outlook and key stakeholders at the Grand Bahama Port Authority. It's been 60 years since the agreement came into effect, and as the Prime Minister indicated, there is a need for change. Noel Ferguson reports.
Major proposed changes for the future of Grand Bahama that have the potential to revolutionize the nation's second city of Freeport and change the ownership landscape that has been in place for years.
No longer can an entity like the Grand Bahama Port Authority be licensor and licensee, regulator and investor, with no rights of appeal by licensees, without inherent conflicts and varying levels of dissatisfaction.
What may have served Grand Bahama well in the past no longer obtains, Prime Minister Perry Christie charged, while tabling a 3-month extensions under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. They expire on February 4th. He stressed that it is also being recommended that government, for once, be a part of the decision-making process at the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
It is a considered view that the presence of the central government of the Bahamas would be able to provide the necessary balance and prevent or minimize the impact of conflict that has existed in the past between shareholders.
Internal ownership disputes have stunted the economic growth of Grand Bahama over the years, but Prime Minister Perry Christie said the far-reaching recommendations by the committee would promote new investments.
That significant new development is not taking place in Freeport in the same manner as other islands in the Bahamas that have no tax or infrastructural advantage over Freeport. It is for me to note that unemployment is also higher in Freeport and Grand Bahama than in some of these other islands.
The recommendations submitted by the committee include, but are not limited to, within 1 year of the extension, secure an international investor to purchase a majority stake of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, a submission of a new master plan within 6 months of the extension, and the possible introduction of real property tax on undeveloped land. Mr. Christie said the process has taken longer than expected, but he believes that the government, private sector, and the Port Authority can bring the magic back to Freeport, Grand Bahama. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Power Secure is expected to assume management control of the country's power company in the coming weeks. Deputy Prime Minister and Works Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, made the announcement in Parliament today. He said the cabinet has given its approval for Bahamas Power and Light to enter into a management services agreement with the publicly traded U.S.-based company. And with such a step, many have been concerned about staffing levels. Mr. Davis gave this assurance.
I'd like to put it on record that the government and the board and Power Secure are extremely sensitive to this issue. Once Power Secure have boots on the ground full-time, careful ongoing assessments will be made as it relates to staffing. We do not expect any staff reductions in the near future. And if there are to be any, this will be done over time in a manner that is fully open and transparent with key stakeholders and employees themselves.
Now, Mr. Davis also indicated that consumers are already experiencing lower energy costs as a result of those energy reforms.
The fuel charge has fallen from 27.7 cents per kilowatt hour in October 2014 to 10.9 cents per kilowatt hour in December 2015. "60% of our electricity bills was due to the cost of fuel. Notwithstanding the temporary relief to our pockets now, it remains urgent to continue pushing these reforms forward, as the cost and reliability of supply of energy has proven to be a deterrent to investors who feel the cost of coming to the Bahamas was prohibitive.
Still on news from Parliament, debate began on a compendium of bills dealing with food security and safety. The objectives are to regulate food safety and quality at every stage of the food chain, to regulate all food, and generally to protect human health and consumer interest, including fair practices and trade. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray, explained that these bills are necessary for the Bahamas to remain compliant with international standards.
These pieces of legislation will allow agricultural officials to do something that has always been done, but in a better and more scientific way. And that is to undertake inspection of animals, plants, and agricultural products at every port of entry in this country, in order to ensure that where animals are infected, they are never allowed to enter our country. Where plants are infected, Mr. Speaker, they will not be allowed to enter this country. And so, Mr. Speaker, officers will be trained over again.
In news from the Senate, debate continued today on the petroleum bill, which provides for the exploration and production of petroleum and incidental matters. Also debated was the Sovereign Wealth Fund bill, which allows for the establishment and management of a sovereign wealth fund. Leader of Government Business in the Senate, the Honorable Allison Maynard Gibson, says the bills will bring the petroleum industry in line with 21st century international best practices. She adds if oil is commercially found in viable quantities in the country, it can be transformed.
Imagine a Bahamas free of national debt, Imagine a Bahamas whose high schools and universities compete with the best around the world. While successive administrations have made efforts to positively affect our GDP, our debt to GDP ratio, and to build and equip schools and the College of the Bahamas, each has done so facing considerable economic constraints. If there is oil in the Bahamas, Madam President, in commercially viable quantities, those constraints will be removed.
Also contributing to the debate were Minister of State for National Security, Senator the Honorable Keith Bell, who supported the petroleum bill as progressive legislation, and Kwesi Thompson, who said in his contribution he understands the potential of the pieces of legislation, but the country must also do what it can to protect what it has.
This bill, therefore, is forward-looking as it strengthens the regulatory framework in line with best practices capable of supporting a world-class petroleum industry.
I understand all of that. But there are some things that we cannot afford to get wrong. And in this one, I would rather we not move than to get this one wrong. I would rather we stay where we are than to make a mistake on this one.
Free National Movement introducing two more of its candidates during a joint constituency meeting at Sadie Curtis Primary School last night. Halson Moultrie and Howard Johnson will run in the Nassau Village and South Beach constituencies. As a resident of Nassau Village, Moultrie says he knows the negative stigma that surrounds the area, and he's looking to change the focus from the place to the people through empowerment and the creation of a safe community. While Johnson says he, along with residents in South Beach, will work together to improve the daily issues that affect that community. Both men say they are thankful to the party's executive council for placing confidence in them.
It is a process that will move the community from a position of commercial charity on a journey of mutual respect and social and economic justice.
You see, we're going to fix those things. I didn't say I'm going to fix those things. I said we're going to fix those things. You see, South Beach, the type of representation I'm offering to you is a partnership.
Time party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis called on F&Ms to do what they must to claim victory as they seek to build a new and better Bahamas.
We must put aside our petty differences. We must work together. We must stop fighting each other and take the fight to the PLP. F&Ms, we cannot lose sight of the urgency of this moment. It's easy to get distracted and caught up in the silliness and constant internal bickering and the petty airing of our daily dirty laundry.
It's been 4 months since Hurricane Joaquin hit the Bahamas. Hear about reconstruction efforts coming up in the Bahamas tonight.